All right, so I just realized some of you may not actually know how to make some of the common geometries we'll find in our robots in CAD. That's a relatively important thing. So I'm just gonna make a real quick guide on what to do. So someone was asking about whether or not we find like our tubing in our library, like the metal tube that we use. No, we do not. Is the answer. We make it ourselves. So really quick way to do that is select a plane. Actually, I'm going to backtrack. I did something wrong. So I'm going to make a rule of thumb. I try to make everything consistent because consistency is a lot easier. If you're doing a tube, do it on the right plane. It just makes setting up some things easier for consistency. If you're doing a shaft, you can do it wherever. Or a plate, you can do it wherever. Just do tubes on the right plane. So if I want to make a rectangular tube, like a piece of 2x1, I'll usually go here to my rectangle. I have the center rectangle selected by default. I prefer center rectangle. You'll see why in a bit, but I'd avoid the corner rectangle for making a tube like this. So as I do, the center rectangle, you choose a center point, so I'll choose the origin. You just drag it out from there. The nice thing about center rectangle, the reason I like it, is you're symmetric about all your axes. So I'm just gonna set the top to be equal to 1 inch, the bottom to be equal to 2. Now from here, there's two ways you can do it. Uh, One way is you can extrude thin. I'm going to show you what to do with that. So I could just extrude like this, and before I extrude the entire solid body, I'll go to thin feature. Where it's about to put material on the outside, I just reverse the direction, say, my wall thickness is 0.125. That's one way of doing it. I don't usually do it that way, just because I like having everything in a sketch. I'm going a little bit too fast, sorry. I go to offset entities right over here. What that does is it takes whatever you've selected or whatever you're chained to and it offsets it. If it's not showing everything offset, it's because you don't have select chain selected. And you want to, the 2x1 are the dimensions of the outside, so we want to reverse this so it's the inside. And the offset distance is going to be our wall thickness for 2x1. Usually it's going to be an eighth or a 16th. 1/8 is 0.125, so I'm just going to do that. That's going to be my extrudable profile. I'm just going to go extrude it, extrude boss base. Important thing, 9 out of 10 times. Oh, what's up, Lee? Not right now. 9 out of 10 times you want to extrude mid-plane. That keeps the symmetry in line, and symmetry gets very nice when you're working with planes. So if I want my piece to be 10 inches long, I put 10 in, press enter, and it makes a tube. And click the side. I'll see down here where my mouse is. Length, oh, whoops, it is. Length is 2 inches for the height. If I select that line, length is 1 inch, so I know my part's right. If I want, I can select an interface and an outer face, so the normal distance is 0.125. It's an easy way, it's all down here. Easy way of figuring out what dimension something is. So, depending on how you make your tubing, there could be an extra step. I usually encourage, for the most part, that you put a hole pattern in your tubing. What I mean by that is if you've maybe seen on, let me just drive the robot open. I do have the robot open. So like on the main robot assembly for the off-season project, you see you have a whole bunch of holes lined up somewhere, and most of them aren't used, but they're nice to have. They're ½ inch apart, and they're nice to have because mounting things gets so much easier when you have all these options that you can look to. So in order to do that, a couple ways you can do it. I'm going to show you two, and I'll tell you why you should just stick with one 9 out of 10 times. So one thing you can do is you want your hole to be in the center, and of course you can dimension it. The center is a ½ inch from there, and you want to start a ½ inch from the other side, just for symmetry. Because if you start a ½ inch from one side and you do a ½ inch hole pattern, then you can have your have it line up really nicely on the other side. It's all divisible by half. Hole diameter is 0.196, and the reason why it's 0.196 is that is the through hole diameter for a number 10 bolt or 3/16 rivet. And from there you can go to linear sketch pattern. Select your distance to be 0.5. Keep adding. Now, of course, your sketch will be blue, and the way you can fix that, blue means undefined sketch, or not fully defined, and you want all your sketches to be black, which means fully defined. So if I select these 2 points and add the horizontal relation, and then I go to the same 2 points, and I say that they're a ½ inch apart, everything turns black. So that means it's all fully defined. From here, I can extrude cut. I'll just go through all, because it's easy. And there you go. I have everything cut out nicely. Now that's one way of doing it. There's another way I'd suggest you do. It's a little bit better. And that is using a linear pattern feature. So not the linear sketch pattern, but the actual feature of linear pattern. And before I do that, I'm going to show you a really easy trick to get that first hole aligned without any dimensioning. So the nice thing about once you start learning SolidWorks a little bit better, you learn about part geometry, and you learn to use the pre-existing geometry in a part. So what that means is I know that this entire tube is 1 inch in length, or sorry, 1 inch in width, and that it's conveniently giving me that yellow dot there, which is a halfway point. So that halfway point is exactly 1/2 of an inch, which is the exact spot I want my hole in the x-axis. So I'll just use that as a guideline. Now I know also if I put a line up to the top, that line length is going to be 1/2 inch. And this line length, the selected one, is my x-axis, and that's undefined right now. However, if I connect this, that's rigidly defined. My y is going to be half because I'm currently halfway through a 1 inch. So if I set these two equal, it creates a point that's fully defined where I can set up my hole and go from there. So that's an easy way to do it. And if I were to do it quickly, it saves a lot of time. See, that's a lot faster than making 2 dimensions and making sure everything's in the right spot. Oh, oops, 1 second. There you go, 196. And I'll extrude cut that. So I'm only going to make one, and then I'm going to linear pattern it. So I'm going to go over to my features and go to, where is it, linear pattern. So linear pattern requires that you select an edge to pattern upon. I'll just select this one. There's 2 ways you can do linear pattern. You can select the number of instances. Sorry, wait, spacing instances. For the longest time I did it this way. Oh, wait. Longest time I did it this way, where I said I'm going to have each instance a ½ inch apart, and my number of instances would be, let's say, is it 8? No. 10, 11, 12, blah, blah, blah. You have to count for long pieces of tubing. Was that 19? Okay. Oh yeah, it's twice the length minus 1. Notice patterns every once in a while, but then I learned about up to reference, which is pretty nice. Essentially, instead of telling SolidWorks where you want it to end, instead of telling it how many times you want the pattern, you just say, I want the pattern to go up to this point. You put 0.25 or something, just put some value so it leaves that last one out. And I want them to be ½ inch between, and it does all the math for you, so that's pretty nice. So that would be a standard piece of 2x1 aluminum tubing. If I wanted to go over here, make it a 1/16 wall, make it a little thinner, could change my wall thickness. Now it's thin. If I want to change the shape, I could make this a 1x1 by 1/16 wall. Same thing. If I wanted to make it a 1x1 and have holes on every side, which on 2x1s we only have holes on the 1 inch side, but 1x1 we like to have holes on all the sides, I can make an axis, which is a little bit more of an advanced topic, but if you can do this, it saves a lot of time. By selecting the front and top planes, and I'll create an axis between them, and I will use a circular pattern. Sounds weird, a circular pattern on a flat face. If I rotate that cut and that pattern around this, do 4 to make it even. I get my whole pattern nicely on every face. So that's square and rectangular stuff. You shouldn't be working with anything round yet for the most part. But if you want to do a round tube, pretty much the same procedure. Make a circle, 1 inch round tubing. If I want like 16th wall, offset so it's a 16th on the inside. And it'll do that. Alright, so that's all you should need to know about making tubes. If you have any other questions, either ask me directly in the chat or just ask me to make a video of something if you have an entire topic you want to learn about, because I don't know what you don't know. And the more you tell me what you don't know, the more I can make you know it. If that makes sense. Alright, thanks for watching.